Hey there, YouTube friends. It's been a while, but welcome back to the Bikini Bottom Water Park, where today we are building a 4-tube raft slide complex, I think I said that right, themed to Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy, in addition to two villains that they face. I'm excited to build this complex. I hope you're excited for this park to be back on the channel. I'm maskedbandit. I am glad you are here. Let's get building today. So before we get into the build of today's episode, I do want to mention that, yes, the update has dropped. I know it's been a while since we've had an update, a little over a week now. Real life has been absolutely crazy with my real job, but here we are with the new update, and I want to focus more on the update than the DLC. But we'll talk about that in a future video. Long story short, love the update. Really not a fan of how they went about the DLC. It's not the DLC itself. I mean, it is, but yeah, the vibes are all wrong. I tweeted it out. I want you to understand that I didn't have any previous knowledge of the DLC before it dropped. I was not in any sort of inner loop with that. Which seems to be the consensus of a lot of creators. But here, right off the bat with the video, I just did want to say that, yes, I did receive the DLC from Frontier, so thank you, Frontier, for the DLC for me to look at. I honestly haven't had time to really look at it. I am recording this with the update installed without having looked at it. So all I did was remember, we can control the weather now. I'm excited for the updates, at least those that work. And we'll get into a discussion about the DLC at another time if you want to hear my views on it. I'm sure you all have strong opinions one way or another. If you want my take, I'm more than happy to provide that. That being said, unless you are absolutely about the two kinds of coasters that were in the DLC, I would say you don't need this. And I think it could send maybe a message about the business practice and how we want to see Planet Coaster 2 being developed going forward. But enough about that. Let's talk about this, because this is far more fun. But I did just feel I needed to get that out of the way. This is our slide complex, though, from someone who doesn't know how to build slides. Hi, that's me. And this is what I came up with. I looked a little bit online. It's hard to find things. I'm sure what's going on here is wildly unrealistic, but I think it looks really fun. And what I've done is I decided on 4 tube slides. Raft slides? I don't know what they're called. 4 slides where you're in an inner tube. Look at, see, there's dummies in an inner tube. They bounce now. Wow. Now, I built this before the update, and now it's reacting with the update. So I will say, this quarter pipe here was a pain to line up, but this is what I came up with for my complex 4-slide tube slide. Our entrance is going to be here off the back, and each slide is themed to someone from the Barnacle, Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy series, the SpongeBob's superhero heroes that he meets at their geriatric age. And I love it. I just love it. So I don't know if you can tell just from the colors whom's who, but the orange and teal is obviously going to be our Mermaid Man slide. The red and the blue, which we do need to still tweak the colors a little bit, are going to be our Barnacle Boy slide. You will see they are mirrored in what they include, this quarter pipe piece. And then our two villains, one of the things, a commenter on one of my previous videos said that we need to do a bowl slide and have it be the Dirty Bubble. And so that's what this is. That's why it's yellow. I am going to make it a lot more pale, though. This is a little too bright, but this is going to be the Dirty Bubble. And then my other favorite is Man Ray. And I was thinking about we need to include, and I didn't do it, but we need to include Patrick's wallet somewhere in here so Man Ray can absolutely lose his mind. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, then you haven't seen the episode, and apologies that Easter egg went over your head. But this is what I came up with. I put the slide in, or I'm building this off in its own area here to kind of that's kind of how I'm approaching this project, is let me build the thing almost as a blueprint and then put it where it needs to go. So I dropped the slide in, I dropped the pool in, and I did some bits here if we go underwater. pretty happy with how this all turned out. I tried to make sure it was symmetrical and even so that dealing with the mesh, dealing with the pool sides would be easier. But anyway, this is the basic thing. Now we have to make it look pretty. So let's start making it pretty. So you can see here the first thing I decided to do was to theme up the dirty bubble slide, and I changed the colors. Like I said, I really muted it, made it a lot yuckier, a lot grosser. Bright colors are obviously a thing in water parks, but when we're trying to pay homage to a very specific thing, I think getting the colors right is more important than the saturation levels. And so we used some art shapes and some other random pieces. I think these are J's. I think these are font pieces for the eyebrows, and we created the dirty bubble, at least sort of, more or less. I'm really unhappy with the inability to make the colors match. I didn't want to do the jagged shape of his mouth using art shapes because that would have been really difficult to do. So I just found some, what are these pieces actually? They are wall signs. Lightning 2 wall signs, and they're the perfect shape, but then I used art pieces to fill it in, and it kind of looks like he's having an allergic reaction. I think we're gonna just kind of have to live with it though. I tried to match, but the textures are different, and that's just kind of the way it is. I am also unhappy with the dome. The dome feels a little short for me. It doesn't feel quite bubbly enough. And it looks more like a flying saucer at this point. So this is something we're going to have to fix. I did throw some pads in. What I ended up doing actually was I realized there were no paths here. So I dropped in some paths. So what I decided to do is see what it would look like if I put in a big bunch of paths, saved it as a blueprint, and then dropped it in here, just to see how that would work. And that's obviously the way we're going to be moving forward with this, is the slide complex. I did save it as a blueprint, which I can upload if you are interested. And it does not have any paths attached to it so that you can just snap it to whatever you want in your water park. I would recommend laying down a whole bunch of paths where you want it to go and kind of plopping it on top and then going in, and like you can see there's some path here. Cleaning up these path bits would really help shore it all up. But that's the only major thing that's happened here in this update. Let's keep plussing this attraction. So the impetus for this entire design was the idea of making this dirty bubble dome, which I did change now. You can see this is much more dome-like, and I think it looks a lot better. Now that we have glass, I'm going to see. I'm not quite sure, based on the pieces that we have, if I'll be able to enclose this in glass. That was the idea. Also, I'm not sure if that would be super realistic. I would assume this would get really hot if we had a glass dome here. We may keep it as just this structure like that. Tell me what you think in the comments. Should we put glass around it or leave it as is? I like it a lot more though. We will make it attached to the rigging, don't worry. But once we had this in, I was like, well, we need to do something for everyone else, right? And so for the Man Ray, I put in the laugh belt that he has to keep him from doing evil. And of course, he tricks SpongeBob and Patrick into unlocking it, and he runs amok. But yeah, that is what that's supposed to be. Very simple. The good thing about using a cartoon as a reference for this project is it's pretty straightforward and pretty easy to replicate. And then over here we have the Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy. This is supposed to be the belt, the M, the purple M with the belt, just to add another major color to his outfit. I was a little confused because by researching this, the M and the belt are actually different colors. In some they're yellow and in others they're purple. I liked the purple, so I went with that. So this is to further push the Mermaid Man idea. And then over here, you can see we did change the colors a bit. We got the colors now. This is our Barnacle Boy is much lighter. Our Man Ray is much darker. And I had a really hard time with Barnacle Boy as far as what we could add to signify his thing. And I ended up making his hat out of art shapes. And it's so doofy, but I kind of love it. I did put a black mask with his eyeballs, but then that just looked even weirder. And then I would have had to include the nose. And then at that point, I might as well just recreate the dude on the slide. And that felt wrong. So I stuck with just the hat. And I think it's great. Hopefully you think it's good. It's kind of goofy, but it's the kind of goofiness that I'm here for. You know what I mean? So now that our slides are all taken care of, we are going to go in and start theming up the back area here. adding some services just to draw more people in. What I've realized is you need the changing rooms and you need the guest services and that stuff near the slides for them to need to, because I think they want to get changed first, obviously. So if you have that near some slides, I don't have any real hard testing, but it feels like having those close to the entrances to your slides is going to make more people get on your slides, which is always something we're looking to do. So yeah, let's start working on the back side of the slide, the entrance area to this flume complex. So I was able to get quite a bit done in between these updates, and I want to just kind of have a look around. Here's our main sign, Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy, the battle for Bikini Bottom. And we put a raft here in the O. I don't know about that. Yay or nay on that? What do you think? And then I used my guy here for my scale. I didn't want anyone to be able to easily reach up and slap the sign. Found these lovely raft items on the workshop. Let me show you who these are by. So this is called Tube Holder by Addy, and it's a lovely asset. It's a little more themed. There are some more generic ones, but I thought this would fit our Bikini Bottom style. Here's the share code and all the important information so that you can add this awesome asset to your parks and water parks. This is Tube Holder by Addy. Thanks so much, Addy. Do appreciate it. So yeah, I added several of these tube holders around and threw some random ones. One of the things I saw Jonty do in an episode of Planquatica was to throw random tubes around to make it look a little more realistic. People don't always put things back where they belong. I do. I'm one of those guys. I put my shopping cart back all the time. It's an easy thing to do. Also cleaned up here, added some fencing. Might throw some more details on the fences here. But yeah, that is the entrance area here, and using more of our rock work to frame it up. Use this cool texture, this tile texture, this mosaic tile kind of look, and I changed the colors to kind of match the Bikini Bottom vibe, and I think it looks really, really nice. But I think the important part of this update, I'm going to pause the game because it spins a little too fast. I know a tutorial just came out today about how to change all this up, but I built the whole thing before I did the rigs the right way, and I'm not about to mess with all of it because it doesn't work. It's a little messy to work with attaching things to these animated rigs. This is my first time actually doing anything with it and showing it off, but we made the invisible boatmobile. No touching, please. I think thank you in the comments for suggesting including the invisible boatmobile. It is too good of an idea not to. So right here it is, the invisible boatmobile. Yeah, and it is a major, major, major haul for the Bikini Bottom Water Park to be able to have the invisible boatmobile here in the park. You can see it. It's right here. I don't know. It cracks me up. I think it's hilarious. And it just... the idea that you're sitting here looking at nothing just absolutely cracks me up. So yeah, we included that. I think it's perfect. And yeah, this is where we are at. It is time to dress it up even more and include our changing rooms and our guest services over here. And we're getting close to putting the done stamp. And then I want to show you some other things that I've done in between episodes just throughout the park to kind of continue to concretize and bring the whole thing together. All right, so I thought we would start the last update here further out and make our way towards the slide complex. And we'll start here with the main weenie of the park, the main characters' houses. We've created this lovely area here where you can see we have this staircase that are, I mean, that's a dangerous place to show off your tricks, bud. That's a little intense for me, but hey, whatever floats your boat, I guess. Filling in these planters here. Again, using the advice of my buddy Mike, but now making them look more filled in and unique, each of them. And that brings us to this area here. I created this lovely waterfall and really shored it all up and grounded it, added bubbles. Now, I think this is super cute. I want you to know I did try with the large bubble emitter to have bubbles going back and forth between the rock and the pineapple per that one episode, but I just couldn't get it to look the way I wanted, so I got rid of them. But I did try. So more benches and bins and lights and all that going around. And one of the big suggestions were people suggested swapping the chum bucket and the Krusty Krab because they thought as you were coming around this way, it would make a lot more sense to see the Krusty Krab first, which I totally agree with. So I went ahead and swapped that and did a little bit of reorganizing. And now we still have the Krusty Krab across from the chum bucket, which I'm very happy about. And I did make it so that you can kind of see, depending on where you're sitting. But from Goo Lagoon, you can still see the Krusty Krab from Goo Lagoon, and that was a big deal for me. I really wanted to do. And now this, I think, satisfies all the things that make this area work now. The viewpoints are great. You can still see what's important. The Krusty Krab is across from the chum bucket, and I think the Krusty Krab is now in the more prominent spot. So thank you for those of you that suggested to make that change. I went ahead and did that. And that also then provided me an opportunity to use the side here as extra, as added backstage area. Like, you could walk right by here and not even realize. And then it makes sense that maybe this whole area is Krusty Krab kitchen, like an industrial strength kitchen where you only get to see the part they want you to see. Like under the buildings here was to say they didn't put some sort of stuff under there. We gave it access, and that's kind of important. I am going to go ahead and add glass here. I do think the glass will fit in really, really well to our Krusty Krab area. And I'm kind of glad I don't have any intentions to move this, because this poor building has moved so much. Oh! Ha! I built a condiment cart. There was one on the website, or on the workshop, and I actually used these condiment holders here. Let's see who those are by. So these are called condiment dispensers. They're by Dusty Binder, and they're awesome. I do think I resized them just a little bit, but we have ketchup, mustard, and I'm assuming that's mayo. They are excellent little workshop items if you're looking for adding extra details to your park. Here's the share code. Thank you so much, Dusty Binder. Your contribution to the workshop helps make Bikini Bottom Waterpark even better. So yeah, I took those and I just created my own little condiment cart here using a bunch of different shapes. I had a reference image. I like the idea of it being mobile and being stainless steel. That's kind of the vibe I was going for. We'll probably spam these around quite a bit now as we add more and more throughout the project here. And my chum bucket over here is still walk up. It is still serving milkshakes and sushi. And I also started working on incorporating the first aid, the hospital, in a little bit here. We will planter all this up more, just using these as the beginning here of our planter area. And that brings us around to this area, which to the right would be Gary's splash pad and the imagination racers from last episode. But here it is in all of its glory. Here is the Bikini Bottom tube slides. We have more raft returns here. I have actually taken out some of them from the item itself to make it look a little less full and added random tubes throughout. I think that, again, I love that vibe. And then if we walk around, I have flanked the slides with paths. I have added basic landscaping here just to make this look nice. Probably need to add some fencing so no one monkeys around in there. We have this big backstage area that we will have to cover up. But let me show you what we did here, because in the last update we did not have any of the buildings. So here it is in the completed state. We have some changing rooms here which seem to be extraordinarily popular. Look at this. This is just insane. Again, I think because everyone wants to ride these slides, everyone comes to these changing rooms. Not ideal, but what are you going to do? And then over here, we have just a smaller walk-up guest services to buy your pool passes and things like that. Again, I wanted to make it as easy as possible for guests just entering to hop over here and get on this complex. So, this is what it looks like, and I couldn't be happier with it. I think it's really, really nice. I added a bit of further support to the Flume platform itself using some in-game support structures. I might look into customizing them a bit more, but I think for what they do, they serve the purpose. And look at this, we have an absolutely beyond full queue. This is the first time I've ever seen that. It's probably because there's 4 slides here. But yeah, this is just, I think this turned out super well. let me go ahead and show you from above what it looks like in its current state. A little rough and ready, but we can flesh all this in. I'm having trouble deciding what to do next. I do think we're going to add a lazy river all through this area here. I'm kind of having a hard time deciding how big it needs to be, but it will encompass our jellyfish fields area. And then I'm thinking down in here will be our glove world, and then over here will probably be our rock bottom. So the whole park is going to be more this way, which I think will be good, rather than continuing in this direction, because we do have this road that I put in. I don't think we're going to do too much over here. I don't know if we're going to be able to make the lazy river connect all the way to the bar, which means I may move the bar, which means I may move the slides, which means I may redo the... I'm not sure. I'm still thinking. I've kind of hit a creative roadblock, not just in this, but kind of in life. But I'll talk about more of that in a minute. Let's get back to what we were looking at. So here it is from above. Here is our complex. Yeah, I think it's great, and I hope you do too. It's exactly the level of silliness, but also realistic that I am going for in this project. Yeah, if you thought it was great, if you're excited for this kind of stuff, this is what you're here for, and you haven't subscribed, please do so that you don't miss any of the upcoming stuff. And while this water park is super fun, I am a theme park guy at heart, and I cannot wait to dig into some theme park stuff. So, but anyway, yeah, lazy river and children's area with some slides here for the jellyfish fields. And then here will be our glove world and Sandy's treehouse. And then over here will probably be rock bottom. Give me suggestions about the lazy river. Give me suggestions. Would you be okay with moving these things? The salty spittoon and the anchor arms. It makes sense to have them here near Goo Lagoon narratively, but perhaps not as far as organic layout of a water park. I again, if you are all about water parks, your help and advice is going to be absolutely necessary to make sure that this can be as good of a project as I want it to be. I also don't want to spend decades on it. And one last thing before I go, you can expect the pace to be what it has been the last couple updates. 1 video a week to 10 days is probably my max output. I know a lot of people, as the holidays arrive, get lots more time. I actually get less time because the holidays are, for someone who lives very far away from both sides of my family, the holidays are an opportunity to visit with family that I haven't seen in a long time and reconnect. And that to me is going to take precedence, obviously, over making content in Planet Coaster 2. Not to mention, I am also the DM of a long-running D&D campaign, and that requires lots of creative output as well, and there's only so much creative juice in the tank. I don't want it to sound like I'm going anywhere. I'm not. The pace of play has definitely slowed since release, and to be completely frank, with the DLC dropping, it kind of left a bitter taste in my mouth. But I want to finish this. I love SpongeBob, and I'm enjoying the water park aspects of the game more than I thought I would. So don't worry, we're not going anywhere, but you can expect no more than 1 video a week from me. I know we had 2, maybe 3 sometimes. That is not the reality of my channel. Just go back before July to see how frequently I updated. Anyway, I'm yammering and blabbering on, and that's not what you're here for. You're here for Bikini Bottom Water Park, and I showed you what we did today, so I think I better go before you all leave me and never return. So if you enjoyed today's episode, do hit the like button. Consider subscribing so you don't miss any of the content that we do here when it comes out. And with all that being said, have yourself a great day, great night, great whatever, and I will see all of you for the next episode of the Bikini Bottom Water Park. Take care, everyone, and I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.